Miguel Arati here at the Boxing Channel, joined by Paulie Malignaggi, former two-division world champion, broadcasting with Showtime, Sky TV, Fox Sports. He's all over the place, boxing icon, future legend. And he's helping me break down a bunch of fights here. We're going to talk about the upcoming Timothy Bradley, Manny Pacquiao pay-per-view fight scheduled for April 9th at the MGM Grand in Vegas. It's the third fight between the two. We've seen it before. What's your take on this fight? Welterweight, you're a welterweight.
Yeah, I think people were criticizing this fight a little bit, but you have to understand from a business perspective, from a marketing perspective, they are still 1-1. So you always have to figure in the back of your mind this fight would eventually happen. Pacquiao's coming off a loss, so I know people wanted to see him against Crawford, but maybe that's a bit too much of a jump after taking a one-sided loss to Floyd Mayweather. And not to say Bradley's not quality, because he certainly is, but you also have the built-in storyline where they've gone 1-1. A lot of people say Pacquiao should have won both fights. Whatever the case is, on paper they're 1-1. Now you added this little wrinkle. You had Tim Bradley hiring Teddy Atlas, and I think a lot of times when somebody hires a new trainer, I think it's a vastly overrated thing. Like I didn't think Freddie Roach would do much for Jean Pascal, for example, and when he fought Sergey Kovalev, and it turned out to be right, he didn't do much. And a lot of times I think it is more hype than anything else. But in this particular situation, here's how I think Teddy Atlas can help Tim Bradley. Teddy really stresses a lot of fundamentals. Tim is a very hardworking type of fighter, but as disciplined as he is about his training, a lot of times he fights in a very undisciplined way. And I'll give you an example. You watch the Ruslan Pavadnikov fight with Tim Bradley, and I found myself watching the fight and thinking, like, what is this guy doing? Like, his hands are all over the place. His positioning is all over the place. He's flailing and punching with this guy. He's giving this guy his only opportunity to win. So Tim, as disciplined as he is about his training and his approach to his training, a lot of times he's very undisciplined in his tactical approach in the ring, which is a shame because I feel like he doesn't maximize all this great ability that he has. Then some nights he has it. Like you watch the Juan Manuel Marquez fight with Tim Bradley. Mm-hmm. Greatly executed game plan, boxed brilliantly, fast hands, great positioning, everything. And you're like, this is the Tim Bradley we know about. This is the Tim Bradley that can give any welterweight in the world trouble. Then you watch the Pacquiao rematch. Again, he's all over the place. He's looking for one big shot. I mean, I don't know if some of Pacquiao's opponents saw the Marquez knockout and decided they were going to emulate it, because I saw Chris Algieri kind of looking for one big shot as well when he fought Pacquiao. And I felt like Tim Bradley did the same thing in this rematch where he's looking for one big shot. And here's what happens when you throw one big shot. You put yourself out of position for any follow-up punches. You're not able to throw combinations. You're not able to throw with any speed because you're loading up so much, basically eliminating all of Tim Bradley's advantages. Then defensively, Pacquiao throws punches. Bradley, you want your defensive move to be short and positioned so that you can counter, have the option to counter, or step around or whatnot. Instead, I watched Bradley's defensive positioning against Pacquiao in that rematch, and he's all over the place. He's doing this. As a matter of fact, he even twisted his ankle, making one of the moves. But he's all over the place doing all this. What happens when even if you slip punches and you put yourself out of position? On a high level, that's no good, because if you put yourself out of position defensively, one, you can't counter, okay? Because you're so out of position. The best you can do is make the guy miss, if you make him miss at all. A lot of times, maybe Bradley had Pacquiao missing when he put himself out of position. But you put yourself out of position, you're leaving your opponent without any doubt. Because the worst that's going to happen is he's going to miss. A guy is going to become gun-shy and start worrying about his offense if he knows when he throws and he misses, he pays for it. Bradley being all over the place in that fight, flailing his hands again, being all over the place defensively, he didn't give Pacquiao anything to worry about. Yeah, maybe you might have landed one right hand here and there, but, when a guy knows he's not going to pay, he's just going to throw, and he'll throw again. Eventually, he's going to catch you because you're going to put yourself so out of position. So I think that's where Teddy comes in, is from the tactical perspective. Teddy's a disciplinarian. Teddy's a guy who's going to be a disciplinarian in training camp, but also about the tactical approach. If Timothy Bradley starts going all over the place, positioning-wise and all that, this is where Teddy comes in. Teddy is a no BS kind of trainer. He's the kind of guy, he'll get in your face and be like, listen, we have this game plan. You're going to execute it this way. Do not even think about going this way, okay? This is what we've been working on. You're going to go at it this way. If you don't want to do it, we'll just go home right now. Teddy's the kind of guy that I love him from the psychology standpoint, and I think also he's not a trainer for everybody from a tactical standpoint, but I think in this particular situation especially, I think he's a guy for Tim Bradley, because Tim
really has Bradley's attention.
Yeah, because Tim will give you all the work. Tim wants to win. Tim is not the kind of guy where you got to worry about whether he's going to get up in the morning to go jog. He's not the kind of guy that you got to worry about if he's going to even show up at the gym. Those things you got him covered. Tim will have you covered. Tim is a guy who wants to work so hard to win. He's a go-getter. What you got to work on with Tim is keeping him disciplined with the game plan. Because sometimes he kind of veers off. He wants to win so badly that it's almost like he's got ADD. His boxing almost has this ADD mentality where he's kind of so distracted and he starts trying new things that he shouldn't be trying. And this is why I think Teddy becomes an advantage. So I don't know who to pick in this fight, I have to be honest with you, because I felt like Pacquiao, especially in that last fight, looked so much better than him. But with a revamped Tim Bradley, I think it makes the fight more interesting than people think. You know, maybe Pacquiao wins again, but he's gonna earn it. You know, or maybe Bradley comes out and he, you know, with Teddy in his corner, executing this, kind of steering the ship. Maybe Tim comes out and he wins this fight. I figure you gotta favor Pacquiao, but I feel like it's a good fight. I feel like it's a better fight than people that were knocking and we're not giving it as much credit, because I think more of the knocking it is more so to do with the fact that people were really convinced that Pacquiao will fight Terrence Crawford. Yeah. So I think that's just sour grapes about that. But I think Pacquiao and Bradley will be a pretty interesting fight. And those little intangibles to look for, I look forward to kind of looking for them.
And here's the other interesting part, that Manny Pacquiao is coming off a relatively serious injury and a surgery, and now he's coming back, you know, towards the end of his career. It's another payday and stuff. Do we see him again if he comes through this with a win?
I think so. I think so. If I had to guess, I think so.
Hey, there you go. That's Paulie Malignaggi giving us his scoop on Tim Bradley, Manny Pacquiao.